these two, and Oscar will join very shortly. Well, Lando, many congratulations. It's been a very impressive weekend by you and McLaren. First of all, how do you sum up the last 2 days?
I'm trying to think of a cool word. I don't know. Just great. Like, it's been or amazing. I don't know. A very good weekend, all in all, from all of us as a team. Mistake-free. Great pace in the car. Probably this weekend, I think we can say confidently, I think we were the quickest, and I think that's the first time this year I can confidently say that. So amazing. Our first one too since Monza with Daniel, and yeah, an up and down journey. But you know, since 1 year ago we were struggling, and the turnaround to Miami and Miami to here, it's been incredible. So as a weekend, fantastic, and I'm very happy for us as a team and everyone that's part of it to reward them with something like this.
And how difficult was it for you to give up the race win?
I mean, I didn't give up the race win. I lost the race win off the line. So I know everyone's going to want to say that as a story that I gave up the race win. I didn't. I boxed first. Naturally, you're always going to undercut. So the team gave me this position and I gave it back. Nothing more than that.
There was a lot of discussion between you and your race engineer over the radio. How seriously did you consider not giving it back?
I mean, things they're always going to go through your mind because, you know, you got to be selfish in this sport at times, you know, and you got to think of yourself. That's priority number one, is think of yourself. And I'm also a team player, so my mind was going pretty crazy at the time, and I know what we've done in the past between, you know, Oscar and myself, and he's helped me plenty of times. And I think this is a different situation. This is not someone helping one another. This is I was put into a position and we were undoing that position change. But I mean, I'm also, and I get it, and I know a lot of people are going to say, like, the gap between me and Max is pretty big, 60, 70, 80 points or something. But you know, if Red Bull and Max make the mistakes like they did today and continue to do that, and as a team we continue to improve and have weekends like we've had this weekend, we can turn it around. And it's still optimistic. It's still a big goal to say, yeah, we can close 70 points. And as a driver, I can close 70 points in half a season. And then when you're thinking of the 7 or 6 points that I give away, then it crosses your mind for sure. So it was not easy, but I also understood the situation I was in, and I was quite confident. Always by the last lap, I would have done it.
Do you think we'll see you be more selfish in the future?
It depends. I mean, I've done this for I don't know. I've not think that I was put in this situation, and it's not my fault. I was leading the race in a way. Simply, the team should have just boxed Oscar first, and we wouldn't even be having this discussion. So it's not that. I think just as a team, maybe we could have done things slightly differently, and I'm sure we'll talk about it. But at the same time, this guy here deserved to win today. He did an amazing job. He got me off the line, and yeah, that's a very special feeling winning your first race. And I'll say first race because I think he'll agree that it's his first race win, and not a sprint race. So yeah, I'll let him enjoy it. And you know, for us as a team and to have the win, it's an incredible weekend for all of us.
All right, Lando, many thanks for that. Let's come on to the race winner now. Oscar, you've dreamt of this moment since you were a boy. You're a Grand Prix winner in just your 35th start. How sweet was the view from the top step of the podium?
Yeah, very, very special. A lot of Australian flags, actually, which was very cool to see. Yeah, it was an incredible moment. I mean, it's always special when you get to stand on an F1 podium, but it's a little bit nicer when you're at the top of it. So very happy. Yeah, like I said, an incredible moment that I've been dreaming of for for a very long time. I said my first dream in my career was reaching F1. The second one is winning a race. So yeah, I'm very, very happy and proud, and not just of myself, but everybody that's helped me get to this position. Going back to my family, firstly, of course, took a lot of big decisions at a young age to chase the F1 dream. It's very difficult to become an F1 driver by staying in Australia, so it meant some big decisions early in life, and just very, very proud that those decisions have paid off, and we've managed to make it worth it. And yeah, of course, myself, just incredibly happy to have achieved this moment.
How different does this feel to the sprint win in Qatar last year?
Very, I would say. I think the sprint win, it was always a bit awkward, in my opinion. It's a win, but not really a win. This is much more of a proud moment for me than winning the sprint. Of course, it was a special moment at the time, but now, to have no questions, no question marks over whether I'm a race winner or not is a very nice feeling to have. And yeah, the emotion is definitely different.
Can we talk about tactics? Given the advantage you and Lando had in that race, why didn't you stop first? It would have been a lot simpler.
I'm sure it's something we'll discuss as a team. The information I had at the time was Lando was boxing early to cover Lewis, and I was going long to cover Max, essentially, because I knew that he'd stopped later, and I think we were just being very safe. Of course, that naturally gave Lando an undercut and maybe made things a little bit more complicated than it needed to be, but yeah, I'm sure that's something we'll go through.
All right. Many congratulations. Thank you. And Lewis, coming to you, 200 podiums. What a score. What a trophy cabinet. Now, you've often said that you're not into statistics, but this surely means something.
The number doesn't, no. I mean, I just think about these two and how young these guys are. We were nappies when I started, so I don't know. I think no, honestly, it just makes me think about the whole journey and all the great people I've had the chance to work with. I got signed by McLaren when I was 13, and so that was always there was so much love for that team and through the journey that we had, where I had my first world championship and then they went for a really difficult time. To see them back up there is really, really great. I'm really happy to, that's my whole family. So really, really grateful and to be up here with them. And then ultimately, I think it was a tough race today, and definitely didn't think I would be having 200 podiums, but what have I done, like 340 something races, so not too bad a score. And but I couldn't have done it without all those great people that I've worked with in both these teams.
Lewis, many congratulations. You've got to go to the stewards very shortly, so I'm going to open this to the floor. And could we start with any questions to Lewis, please? Any questions for Lewis before he heads to the stewards? Yep.
Peter Farkas, Automotor. Sorry, I'm asking, is this actually for all three of you, please?
Can we just do Lewis, please?
Okay, but no one wanted that.
Sorry, Luke Smith from The Athletic. Lewis, could you talk through the touch with Max? He obviously made that move down the inside. You guys touched. He was on the radio saying about you were moving under braking. Could you talk through your side of it, please?
Yeah. No, I think, from what I can remember, I obviously we passed a back marker. I got to the braking zone, and then Max appeared to overtake the car behind me, so I moved over to defend. I left enough room in the inside, but Max locked up, and he was going a different trajectory to me. I was going around the corner, and he came shooting across. So it felt like a racing incident, and it's easy to make mistakes like that, and so I don't feel I don't feel there should be any hostility, but of course from his side there always will be.
All right. Any more for Lewis, please?
Hi, my name is Yannick Sauer. I work for a German news website called Watson. I was wondering, because you have this little fan laying next to you, especially after a hot race like today, there were some headlines in the past few days about the FIA planning to implement some sort of cooling for the cockpit and the drivers. So you are surprised, I see. Do you have any opinion on that?
Well, firstly, I didn't know that, and it's not needed. This is Formula One. It's always been like this. It's tough in these conditions, and we're highly paid athletes, and you've got to train your ass off to make sure you can withstand the heat ultimately. And it's tough. It's not easy, especially when we go to places like Qatar and Singapore. But I don't think we need an AC unit in the car.
Thank you. Any more for Lewis? Yep, we'll do one more.
Florian Niedermar from motorsportmagazine.com. About your race pace in general, did you expect before the race to be battling with Max, or was it a surprise for you, especially given the conditions?
No, I think out of pure pace, we weren't. Unfortunately, we're still not in hot conditions, particularly. So you saw in Austria and here, we're not able to keep up with these guys. But in the stint one, I was really surprised to see that I was able to hold on to Max, and I wasn't even having to push too hard to stay within around the second behind him. So I thought at that point that maybe I was in for a chance of at least fighting for that place. And but then in the second stint, it was a bit of a disaster. That didn't feel good, and the true pace of the car started to show, I think, on those tires. And but we obviously got the undercut, and track position is clearly key on this track, and I think that really ultimately made the difference.
Thank you, Lewis. Any more? Okay, Lewis, we'll let you go. Thank you very much. Now questions to the McLaren drivers, please. Yep.
Ed Stroll, the race. One for Lando, please. As you said, you were always confident you were going to give the place back, but based on the messages we heard, the pit wall seemed quite worried about it. You had a number of reminders, as it were. So why not give them a confirmation just to put their minds at rest that you're going to do it during that phase?
No, I don't need to. I know what I'm going to do and what I'm not going to do, and of course I'm going to just question it and challenge it, and that's what I did. But yeah, I was going to wait until the last lap, the last corner, but then they said if there was a safety car, all of a sudden, then I couldn't let Oscar go through. Then it would have made me look like a bit of an idiot. So, yeah, then I was like, yeah, it's a fair point. And I let him to go two to go or something, and straight away I let him go. So, yeah, I mean, that's just your opinion of what you hear. But that's the same with all sports. You can make what you will of what you hear and what you think you know and that kind of stuff. But I know that I always was going to give it back unless they changed their mind on what they were saying, and they didn't. So, all good.
Next one.
Phil Duncan, PA. Lando, you said over the radio that you're fighting for the World Championship. Do you think that McLaren made the wrong decision today?
No. I mean, I didn't lose the win there. I lost the win off the line. I had a terrible, not even a terrible start. I just a bad start. I had something happened on my second shift, and I lost all my momentum. Oscar got to the inside, and that was it. That was that. So, I got put into the lead rather than wanting to. I feel like we made things way too hard for ourselves and way too tricky for ourselves. We should have just boxed Oscar first, and things would have been simple. But they gave me the lead, and I gave it back. So I shouldn't have won today. I didn't deserve to win because of my start and Oscar's a good start, and that's that. So I don't feel like I know I was in that position for a while, and 16, 17 laps or whatever. It's hard when you're in that position to give it back. because you're there and you're there, you know. And of course, that went through my mind. 7 points that I'm going to lose, but I think the real fact is I shouldn't have almost had them in the first place. I shouldn't have had them in my hand. So the team were right, and I stand by what they said.
Thank you. Next.
Luke Smith from The Athletic. Oscar, for you in those stages when you were behind Lando, and what was going through your mind? Were you worried that you weren't going to be given the lead back? How much was the concern growing in those final few laps?
I don't think I was really concerned. The only thing I was concerned about a bit was if there was a safety car, then it would have been, it wouldn't, would have taken the situation out of our hands, would have taken the control out of our hands. So that was really the only thing I was a bit concerned about. But we'd spoken about it at the timing of the stop that we would sort it back out. I had full trust in everyone in the team, including Lando, that we would make that happen.
Thanks, Os. Next one.
Peter Farkas, Automotor. So Lando, at the beginning of the year, everyone thought Max would run away with the championship, and now here we are. McLaren seems to be the quickest car. Do you genuinely think that the championship is now on? And do you feel that you are ready psychologically to take it to the wire with Max? Because we think it could get quite edgy at the end.
Yeah, then I look forward to it. So, I said at the end of last year that we were going to win races this year. I said at the beginning of the year that it was not going to be an easy one for Red Bull, and all of that's come true. So, I think we've done an amazing job as a team. So I think, first of all, we have to give credit to the team for giving us a car in order to do that. We've won today, but this is the second win of the year. Red Bull have had way more wins. Mercedes have almost had as many wins as we've had. Actually, they've had the same amount of wins as we've had. So just because we won one race today and we've had a dominant weekend doesn't mean we're the quickest car. I think maybe 2 weekends this year we've had the best car of the grid. That's it. People can come up with their own opinions and say what they like. Did we have opportunities to maybe win more? Yes. Did we necessarily have the quickest car on those days? I don't think so. When I think of that, when I think of what we're doing now, what we are able to do in the future, in the short term and also long term after summer break, and we have more days like today, then of course you would be silly to say no. But don't get me wrong, I know it's like 70, 80 points that I got to catch up. So I know a lot of people are going to say that there's no chance, but we're going to keep fighting, and I'm going to give myself the best opportunity to do so. Especially when you see Max today and Red Bull not performing so well, making mistakes, crashing. You want to make the most of those opportunities, and plenty more can happen in the future. So, yes, I think it's still on. I know it's a big stretch and optimistic, like I said before, but I'm not going to say no to the challenge, and definitely as a team we won't. And psychologically, yeah, I'm happy, I'm ready. I still think, if you throw back to Red Bull Ring, I did nothing wrong in this instance. Wasn't my fault. So I'm ready to go. I'm excited. I'm ready to battle, and I'm looking forward to the battles that we're going to have.
Thank you. Next one.
Nate Saunders from ESPN. Lando, question for you. Just on team orders generally in this situation. Will Joseph mentioned in some of those laps to you, he said, think of those meetings that we have on Sundays, which I assume is just kind of a reference back to discussions about similar situations. If you are going to make a championship fight out of this, at what point do you think McLaren actually need to make calls like that? Because, you are right that there's a big gap to you and Max right now, but obviously that gap might come down quicker if McLaren is maybe making those calls quicker. So what do you think needs to, when does that need to happen if you are going to turn this into a championship fight? Thank you.
I think there's a difference of simply just deserving to win a race and not deserving to win. I didn't deserve to win the race today. Simple as that. So the fact I was in that position was incorrect. I think that was a mistake from us as a team. I shouldn't have been in this position, and it was a strategic way to just play our race. So it gave me hope, and it gave me that position of, oh, I'm here now, but I shouldn't have been there in the first place. So I'm not going to talk about it because I shouldn't have been there. I didn't deserve to win. It's, like end of story from that side. But yes, it's something we always talk about before every race, is our trust in one another, our honesty we have as a group. I think that's something that's allowed us to catch others so quickly, to perform and outperform others so quickly, to develop the car quicker. As a team, I think we have and have shown plenty of times between drivers, whether it has been, you know, Carlos and myself, Daniel and myself, Oscar and myself, that when things do go one another's way, we're there to help one another, you know. And today is a different day. It's not because strategically something's really happened and you're kind of just letting someone past or something's going that way. It's, I shouldn't have been in that position in the first place. I shouldn't have been given that hope of, I'm here, I'm leading a race. So I don't think it's a fair thing. But of course, we're going to discuss it, and there's going to be times maybe in the future where things are like that. But if Oscar's led the whole race, I don't want him just it's not fair, and I don't think that's how it should work, that he should just let me pass for me to win because I'm fighting for a championship. Maybe I'll ask Oscar, maybe he will. Would you? Maybe he'll let me pass. But today was his, and that should be it. It wasn't my race today. He drove better, and he got a good start, and that was that. So yeah, like I said, something we'll speak about as a team, and we speak about all the time. Something we're good at, and something we'll continue to do good at.
Great, thank you. Another one?
Alex Kalinauckas, Autosport. Question to Oscar, please. Apologies if this has come up earlier before I stomped in. Just on the final stint when you came out behind Lando, I wonder if you could just talk us through what happened there, why you were a little bit unable to close up the gap despite having a little bit younger tyres. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole race we were very evenly matched. You know, I think the dirty air made a big difference. You know, I think where I was in the last stint, I don't think it made that much of a difference. I think ultimately I just wasn't quite as quick as I needed to be in the last stint. So I think that's, you know, something that I want to improve, and you know, I'm very, very happy with the result, of course. But in terms of leaving the weekend, you know, with the question of am I fully satisfied with my performance today? No, I'm not. And there's still things I want to improve. Yeah, I mean, I think track position made a very big difference today, and you know, I think that's why having the start I did was so critical. Yeah, I think just ultimately I didn't quite have the pace that I wanted in the last stint, and I still need to go and assess why that was the case.
Thanks, Oscar. Next one.
Florian Nilmar from motorsportmagazine.com. Question to Lando. Were you allowed to race each other? So if you had the base to attack and Oscar, would you have been allowed to do so from team side, or was there an agreement to hold position?
Yeah, we were allowed to race. Maybe something would have changed in certain positions, but we've always been allowed to race. 99% of our time together, we've been allowed to race. There's been a couple times when it's just been better to hold position, and it's not been worth anything differently. Especially when we were fighting for, you know, last year's, we were fighting for 9th and 10th and 8th and stuff like that. You know, for any driver, it doesn't really matter so much. And a day like today, obviously, it feels better or worse either way. But we've always been allowed to race as McLaren. We've always been able to have those opportunities, and I think mainly because we've always been honest with each other. We've always respected each other well. I think as a teammate, I want to, for myself, I feel like I've always been good and honest and happy and respectful for who I work with, and how we can work well as a team. I believe it's a good trait from my side, and it's helped me plenty of times in the past. So, yeah, we were allowed to race, and into the future, that will continue to be the same, I'm sure.
Thanks, Lando. Oscar, one for you that's come in from Down Under, Matt Koch from Speed Cafe. Three-part question from him. Is the win everything you'd hoped it would be? What has Mark Webber's role been in your career? And there wasn't a shoey on the podium. Will there be one tonight?
Yeah. What was the first part of the question?
Is the win everything you'd hoped it would be?
You're gonna have to spoon feed me for the next parts. Yes, I would say it is. I don't think it's fully sunk in yet, and I mean I'm not really the kind of person to get overly emotional. So I don't think you're ever really going to see that from me. But no, it's an incredible feeling. Like I said, it's something I've dreamed of since I was a kid. We've had a couple of opportunities through the last few races that we've come very close to. And now to make it happen is an incredible feeling. But I'm sure with more time, I think in Qatar last year, that didn't fully sink in until probably the season ended. And, I think with this, it will probably be a similar kind of feeling. It's just quite a cool feeling, but quite hard to, I guess, describe and know how to feel sometimes. The second one was
Mark Webber. And are you sad that Mark's not here? He's flown back to London to be supporting Mitch Evans, hasn't he?
Yeah. Has the Formula E race? Yeah. Has the Formula E race happened yet? No, it's not happened. Okay. Yeah. I mean, his influence has been, massive on so many levels. I think, firstly from, I think it's important to say from Mark and Dan, it's been important on so many levels. I think behind the scenes, they've done an incredible amount of work for me in my career, whether it was my junior career, getting me into Formula One, working with McLaren. It's been a massive influence for me. I think there's always little tips and things like that. I mean, Mark had a successful career, but the majority of it is about the bigger picture of things. And, Mark obviously had a long and successful career in Formula One. And, I've said a few times, his hindsight of his career is my foresight. And, he can keep me out of a few traps and a few holes that maybe he experienced in his career. And, his influence there is incredibly important. And, I think also for myself, he's been in a championship winning team for a lot of his career. And I think, not just for myself, but for the whole team, I think that's a key thing to have. And the last question, I can't remember. No, Shui. The Shui Danny Ricks thing. I mean, I'm going to get roped into it because I'm an Aussie, but I don't know. I'll try and think of something new, but no, I think that's gone and done. I know we did one at Silverstone last week, but I think we were a bit upset after the race there, so we need just some cheering up. Maybe we'll do one in the plane on the way back. Can probably pay the cleaning fee now, but no, I'll leave that to Danny Rick, and that could be his legacy. I'll create my own.